welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus Verticus.
Say what?
Charette.
Doc G, what's up, sir?
Whoo! My goodness. Nothing much, man.
Yeah.
Nothing much. You've been busy, though.
I've been busy.
My goodness. Last couple of weeks. I mean, let's rewind it for the listener. Now, before the show last weekend, or well, I should say the weekend before last.
Yeah.
The big old Skank Fest.
Yeah, it was wild.
Comedy festival.
Yeah, it was cool.
Pretty great. How many
it
times
was.
did you perform?
3.
3. Which show was the best?
9 p.m. Sunday show.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had it dialed in by then.
Late night Sunday.
Yeah.
I like it.
It was a good room. It was like that, I was watching I filmed my sets and I was watching my sets and it's like you're performing in front of everybody's drunk and high and you really got to bring the energy.
Right.
I was like, I really got to step it up. So by Sunday I had it dialed in.
Well, I remember you told me the first one was low. The first one, energy was low. You weren't
energy
getting
was
it.
low. 1 p.m. show too.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, so
That's rough. That's rough. But you did see some former guests of the show.
I did. Yeah, Joe List, Annie Letterman.
And they weren't embarrassed to say that they came on the show. That's always
No way. They were like, "Oh, that was great. Yeah, that was a great interview."
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. I like to hear that. It's not, oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Please.
I'm associated with that. Oh, that's horrible. And now you didn't get to see either of them perform, did you?
No, it's a green room party, Doc G. If I'm not on stage, I'm in the green room just hanging out with
hamming it up.
Just hamming it up, yeah.
I like it. I mean, it seems like it's one of the few places where you get to do that as comedians, where you just got,
yeah, it was
hundreds
really different.
of comedians,
Never seen that format, or I've really never been. I've been to comedy festivals, but there's not one just gathering point for the whole thing.
Sure.
For artists.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. And you got to hang out with T.J. Miller a little bit.
Yeah, T.J. Miller. I've been a fan of that guy for so long.
Full disclosure, listeners, I've reached out to him a couple of times. He's never responded back. I'm not mad. I'm just saying. Haven't got anything. But you know what? Now he knows Mike. Now I'm gonna just put that in there and just be like, you hung out with this guy, so you might want to do this show. Just saying. Well, now, so you did Skankfest. You also had a good amount of film screen work.
Yeah.
Now, are you allowed to say what shows / movies you were working on?
Well, it was Hacks. The day I missed the show, Doc G. I hate missing the show, man, but it was Hacks. The I think it's
Gene Smart.
Yeah.
Gene Smart
HBO
is a
show,
classic, comedian on Max. Or do they call it HBO now again?
I don't know.
I don't know. They keep going back and forth. HBO Max, something. Anyways, so you were you were extras there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Nice.
Hanging out.
Nice. But that's a good paycheck right there.
It's a good paycheck, man. But those overnights.
That's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much.
That's fun, but
they would catch me over there falling asleep, and they'd be like, "This extra is passed out on this. This doesn't work. This is get this guy to leave. That's enough of that." Like, yeah.
Yeah.
All of these things, Mike. All of these things, and you're about to become Mike Charette, the dad.
Jeez.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
That's like in a month, Mike.
No. Oh my God, it is in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like pretty much in a month.
That's crazy, Mike.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah. No, absolutely not. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not ready in any way, in any capacity, as they would say. I have no.
Mike, you
no
think
idea
we
what
should,
to do.
you think we should have a segment on the show of this week Mike doesn't know how to do this, you know, like maybe just present it to the listeners like, what the hell do you do with this? I don't know.
Yeah, that's like 18 years of material right there. That's 18 years of segments.
Well,
maybe longer. Who knows?
My kid wants to go to college. I don't know how to do that. Anybody have an idea? Anybody got ideas on that?
What college fund?
Whew.
We don't do college funds anymore.
My goodness. Well, they're on their own for that. We all know that. We all know that.
Just like we all were. Most of us.
My goodness. You've got so much going on, Mike. Not too much happened with me.
Yeah.
Nope.
Been pretty relaxed, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
But I would like to bring this up. I had a lovely outline for the show today. My goodness. I really laid it out there. Just everything. I had the birthday suits all the way that I wanted there, all the notes on them. My soups, by the way. Listeners, I'll get to the soups here in just a second.
Can't wait.
But I had everything. And then here's what happened, Mike. The power, like, glitched in the office for like a second. Girl, come on. Shut down everything.
All it takes.
Shut down everything. Comes back up. And I'm not worried. I'm not worried in the slightest because I'm like, it's got the auto recovery. It's fine.
Yeah.
I bring it up. It auto recovers from Saturday.
Word.
Oh,
That's the most recent. I was like, what? Is auto recovery by carrier pigeon? What the f? How is it Saturday is the most recent time? I'd literally only written like 4 things on there by Saturday.
Blam.
So I had to just, sadly, listener, I had to stitch together my outline with Scotch tape and Elmer's glue. It's not anything of what it was before, listeners. And it's all Microsoft Word's fault. Okay?
Microsoft Word.
Well, technically, I should have just saved it from the start so then it would auto-save. But sometimes I get excited, Mike.
Yeah.
I get excited when I'm writing things, and then I just forget to save it.
That's a thing for sure. In Photoshop, too. Oh, you got to be careful.
You know? It's just, oh, gosh, it really let me down, you know? It really, really let me down. But don't, listeners, be like Mike's last 2 weeks. Don't be like my failure of auto recover. Huh? You know? Don't let it bring you down, listeners. You know what? This show is all about the positive.
Yeah.
You know what?
Sure.
And I think we should fire that positive up right now. Are you ready to fire it up, Mike?
Let's fire up this positivity.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Woo! My goodness, Mike, we have a fantastic guest. We have up and comer pairing with I guess you would call him a rock royalty.
Word.
You know? So we have the lead singer of a fantastic group, Violet Breed, coming on the show. That's right. Violet Breed. So they just had their new single just come out just the other day, which is Awake. And we're going to have AleX, like I said, the lead singer, and the other sort of half of Violet Breed would be Brian Wheat of Tesla, just a big-time guy out there. But anyways, can't wait to talk to AleX. It's going to be a fantastic interview.
So true.
Before we move on, though, listeners, as you know, last week, Jake, Papa J Bones Parlor.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
thanks for coming through.
Just jumping in, just ready to go. I don't even know where he got a microphone, Mike, because like I thought I had sent him equipment back in the day, and I was like, dude, you can just set up your equipment that I gave. He's like, you didn't send me a microphone. I was like, uh-oh. He's like, well, what kind of microphone do I need? I was like, well, anything that can plug into the USB would work, or if you have a digital interface would work. And he was just like, I'll find something. And he showed up with one. So
nice.
There you go. Just coming through in the clutch.
Yeah.
But
thanks, Jake.
As listeners know, we had the top 3 NFL jerseys. Because I wasn't sure if he could do that or not. I was like, Jake, this was our topic. Do you think you could do that? He came through, Mike. He had honorable mentions and everything.
Oh, nice.
Right before we went on air, I was like, do you think you can do this? He's like, yeah, I got it. I was like, wow. Okay.
Nice.
But I asked Mike, since we already did NFL jerseys, what can we do this week? And Mike came back, top 3 soups.
Yes.
It's fall, folks. Soups. We're doing soups. I'll say this real quick before we move on, Mike. I've never been full from a soup.
No.
Just a soup, Like
that's a good point.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I could definitely overeat on soup. I just never have because it's never been like afforded to me, Yeah, you're never gonna go in and just like cook a gallon of soup by yourself and just be like, ow, and just like pour it all in your face. I was thinking about that. I was just like, I always have just like enough soup. Actually, I usually don't have enough soup now that I say it.
No, it's never enough.
Yeah, because you have it and you're like, oh, it'd be nice to have more of that. That was good. Especially at restaurants. You have that little cup and you're like, well, that was just a teaser. That wasn't. Why'd they put it in a shot glass? That was unnecessary. Anyways, Mike, we need to start where we start.
Birthday soup.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
That is correct. I was proud of Jake, by the way, too, because he remembered that birthday suit is where we start.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And he got 2 for 3, Mike, so it's something.
2 for 3.
Yeah, 2 for 3.
That's good.
Yours are not really in your wheelhouse today. So we got
that's okay.
We got 2 musicians and then 1 football player. The one musician, this one's going to be a little embarrassing if you can't get it. Because it's huge. It's huge, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Anyways, born on October 9th, 1940 in Liverpool, England. Our birthday suit wearer loved music from a young age. He got his first guitar when he was 16 years old and created a band that same year. They called themselves the Quarrymen. One of his first bandmates was Paul McCartney.
Word.
After a couple of years, Paul suggested his friend George Harrison to join the band. They changed their name to the Beatles. A little bit later, Pete Best was invited to be the drummer. Then in 1962, Pete was replaced by Ringo Starr. Obviously, they went on to be one of the biggest bands of all time. They sold over 600 million records worldwide.
Jeez.
That's not streams. That's records. 600 physical copies. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That is crazy.
With inflation, I mean, that's wild.
That's nutty. That is just bananas. They have the most #1 hits on the U.S. and U.K. charts of any artist of all time. They have 7 Grammys and were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988. The band broke up in 1970. Our birthday suit wearer had a successful solo career after they broke up with songs like Give Peace a Chance, Instant Karma, and Imagine. As a solo artist, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Sadly, in 1980, he was murdered in New York City. Name that birthday suit wearer.
John Lennon.
Nice! There we go. Woo!
Yeah.
I was a little concerned, Mike, but you got it. You got it.
Yeah.
There is John Lennon. Yes, indeed. Of course, John Lennon, well known with Yoko Ono there. Yoko Ono sometimes accused of breaking up the band there. But John Lennon, he was the leader of the Beatles. Paul even said he was the leader of the Beatles. He was the oldest.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the oldest, so all of them looked up to him because he was I want to say he was 8 years older than George. Like, he was a good deal older than George. And I think he was 5 years older than Paul. Don't quote me on that, but I think Paul was born in 45, and he was born in 40. So, anywho, John Lennon, one of the greatest songwriters of all time. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Happy birthday to John. Mike, you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Mike, I've got a headline from the Daily Beast. Quote, Cheryl Hines may divorce RFK Jr., but not for the reason you think, end quote. Mike, we've talked about this before. There's a pretty good amount of reasons. That headline is like, your sister isn't a good idea, but not for the reason you think. Huh? What? I don't think you need to give me a specific reason. I think they're all bad. I don't want to do it for anything, But apparently, you want to know why they think they're speculating she's going to divorce him? She's going to divorce him because of how close he's got to Trump, apparently. Yeah. But you got to be honest.
I thought that was the whole thing. I mean, I thought that was so she doesn't like that?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
No. But you got to be honest. I don't really disagree with her there. No. But I would like somebody to check in and see what she has to say about the whole whale carcass on the roof thing. Like, I don't know. If I'm in a relationship with a lady and she shows up at my house with a dead whale on the top of her car and she's like, I just like their anatomy. It's a deal breaker for me, Mike.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's very peculiar. But
did he cut off the whale's head or something?
Yes.
Oh, that's so weird. What?
It's very weird.
Why?
And because he likes their anatomy. That's what he says.
That's what he says.
That's what he's a big fan of the skeleton and weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Mike, the basketball player Steven Adams, right?
Of course. Oh yeah.
Of course.
Halloween guy.
Right.
Yeah, you were him for Halloween.
Yes. A lot of folks say I look like Mr. Steven Adams.
Yeah.
Yes. Mainly because we both have beards and long hair.
Dark features.
That too. This past weekend, though, Mike, I felt much closer to him than I have in the past. Because a Twitter account, Courtside Buzz, decided to put out a tweet talking about Steven Adams returning to the NBA because, he's been injured. Mm-hmm. And he's returning on the Rockets now. He's on the Rockets.
Oh, that's cool.
And someone commented, this is their comment on the tweet, quote, one time I saw Steven Adams at the CVS on Sunset in Echo Park with a hooker. He was buying condoms. Huh? That was the comment. And Steven Adams instantly responded, quote, I was with your mom that day. Had to be safe. Yes!
That's awesome.
Yes! Mike, me, and Steven have so much more in common than I thought. This is a true story, Mike. My name on the old AOL messaging, Funking Your Mom. That's a real deal. Me and Steven Adams have the same thought. When in doubt, say you boned their mom. That's the go-to. That's a fact. My goodness, I'm excited.
They hate it.
I'm excited to see him out there, Mike. He's back in biz. He's looking lean. Out there, yeah.
How long's he been out of the rotation?
I mean, basically all season last year. He didn't play like any. Yeah. It was pretty serious injuries. That's what happens when you're a giant. Those injuries take a little bit longer. Mike, let's see here. This is a headline from CNN. It's about a serious situation, but it's one of those headlines I feel like they definitely could have worded better. You know, here's the headline. Quote, people moved to Asheville to escape extreme weather. They forgot its tragic history. Did they forget?
Nope.
I don't think. I think they just didn't know, Mike.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there were a lot of people that were gonna. They were like, you know what? I've heard the rivers around Asheville flood a lot, and then a month later we're like, we should move to Asheville, and they got there and they were like, this is awesome, but I feel like I'm forgetting something. What happened here in the past? No, they just didn't know, man. Come on, get out of here with that headline. It's ridiculous, Mike. It's ridiculous. My goodness, Asheville is. Whew, hope they're doing all right up there.
Yeah, is it bad?
Oh, it looks rough. Looks very rough.
Can't see it.
Mike, these headlines from Inc. are quickly becoming some of my favorite for their ridiculousness. Here is a Inc. headline. Quote, 5 podcasts that will make you smarter, better, healthier, and wiser.
Word.
Sounds pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm here to tell you, listeners, they won't. First of all, no podcast will make you do anything. That's like saying that Popeye's commercial made me get a chicken sandwich. No. Sadness and a love of fried things made you get that chicken sandwich. And Mike, I will say right here, and listeners, you can back me up on this. This podcast that you're listening to right now will make you dumber, worse, sicker, and more foolish. That's what we're about.
Yes.
Yeah. Who clicked on that story, though, and was actually excited about that, Mike? Like, finally, good resources. Like, get out of here. Mike, are you ready for a story about beavers?
Oh, I love beavers.
Yeah.
We're fans of beavers.
Hey, all animals, right? Mm-hmm. Have you heard of Nibby the beaver?
I don't think so, but that's a good name for a beaver.
I'd be surprised if you heard of Nibby. But Nibby is a beaver that was rescued on the side of the road when she was an infant about 2 years ago northwest of Boston. Yeah. And she's in the news right now because this past summer, the Massachusetts Division of Fisheries and Wildlife said that it was time for Nibby to be released back into the wild. But the Newhouse Wildlife Rescue, which was the group that found Nibby, disagreed, and they said, we're not releasing her. We're not going to put her back. And it got pretty heated, Mike. Yeah. The argument went to the state courts. 29,000 signatures were amassed that said Nibby should stay at the rescue center. And after months of back and forth, Mike, the governor got involved. And the governor said Nibby could stay at the rescue center as an education beaver.
Education beaver. I love it.
Yeah. Good ending for Nibby, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I was thinking, I was like, education beaver. I feel like that's what your, like, dirty uncle calls your first serious girlfriend from high school. Don't worry about her. She's just an education beaver. It's fine. You get him on the next one. Oh, sick Uncle Jake. Come on, man. Just education beaver, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Just a couple months.
Just
Maybe a week.
Oh, man. Anyways, good for you, Nibby. It would be one of those sad things if they just, like, release Nibby back into the wild and, like, an
She
eagle.
just watches them leave.
Well, an eagle just swooped down and ate her right there, and they're just like, nature.
It would be terrible to go via eagle too.
They tear you apart with no change in their look. Just rip you apart. Didn't you
take a moment to look around?
Didn't you say you got a bunch of those stuck on your search page?
Oh, my TikTok algorithm was full of like penguins getting eaten by like I was like, I gotta find a way to get this off of my.
That's too much.
It's terrible.
That's too much.
It's terrible.
Mike, I've got a great headline here from BuzzFeed, of course. Quote, 28 reasons why it's an absolute miracle anyone who lived through the 60s, 70s, and 80s is alive today. Now, in this article, Mike, it's just like a bunch of stuff that's very unsafe that were during those times. So, like, like playground equipment and faulty car parts.
Yeah.
Like they have like the old school cigarette lighters. You remember those?
Yeah. Yeah. The little push in with the thumb.
Yeah. They can get really hot, even if they're not even red. They're light. They're super hot.
I used to play with those.
Yeah, I did all the time. And I could definitely agree with all the things in the article. But I go back to the headline, right? 28 reasons why it's an absolute miracle anyone lived through the 60s, 70s, and 80s is alive today. And I was like, what about the 30s, 40s, and 50s? There are still people that are alive today that lived through those decades.
Yeah.
I don't think the safety standards were that great during those decades.
That's terrible.
And if I recall correctly, I think there was a world war. I don't know. Like, let's just say anybody that was born before 1990. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? Mike, Cosmo coming in with a spicy headline here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Here's the headline. Quote, ever wonder what really goes down at a live sex show in Amsterdam?
Ever wonder? Click this article to find out.
Well, is it a trick question, Mike? Like, I know the details. I'm pretty sure I get the gist of what's going on at one. Sex, I think, right? I think the gist. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be sort of weird if it was like, ever wonder what really goes down at a live sex show? Slam poetry. What? I didn't see that coming. That is weird. Oh, all right.
Not what I paid for.
They should change the name. That is misleading. Jeez. Yeah, I will. I'll bleep this out for the listeners, Mike. But apparently, their big take home was. That's the main thing that goes on. A lot of that.
Oh yeah, cool.
And I was like, I don't need to see that.
We know what it is.
Yeah. Ugh. Mike, this was actually a really interesting story. I would love like all the details of this one, and I wasn't getting it enough. But this came from our friends in Minnesota from Channel 5. So apparently there was an 18-year-old dude driving a Honda Pilot in North Dakota who called 911 and let them know that his Honda Pilot was speeding up by itself. He couldn't stop it. Apparently, it was stuck on autopilot. At one point, he was going 115 miles per hour. And in the story, it says the police tried to deploy spike strips, but were unsuccessful.
Huh?
And I was like, somebody check on what that means? Because how are you unsuccessful? Like, did this Honda Pilot have titanium tires? Why wouldn't spike strips work? Like, they didn't deflate. Our spikes weren't strong enough. I knew we shouldn't have made them out of spaghetti.
Could you be going so fast that you literally just drive right over them?
Maybe it's the physics. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I feel like if that's the case, like, why would you even have them in the first place? Because like, every outlaw is gonna go super fast over them, you know?
Yeah,
but I mean that makes sense. Like, I get what you're saying, but
I watch one of my other TikTok feed algorithm things is I watch BeamNG. By the way, speaking of like 50s and 60s cars, they are terrible when they crash.
They are.
But yeah, if you drive over a pothole going like 100 miles an hour, nothing happens. But if you do it at like 15 miles an hour,
I see. Yeah.
it's bad.
I get you. I get you. Well,
Yeah,
good news,
you get
Mike.
it.
One of the mini cops that were trying to help this kid out, he sped in front of the car. He got up to 130 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And then he basically just went in front and slowed down and just put on the brakes until he brought the guy to a stop.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I want to see a video of this.
And apparently nobody was hurt, Mike.
That's good.
And
Smart guy.
I was thinking about it, though. If I was the 911 dispatcher, when this 18-year-old called and said he was stuck in a speeding vehicle, I'd be like, hey, listen, I know you were born way before this happened. It was like 12 years before you were born, but there was a movie called Speed where they were in a bus that couldn't go slower than 50 miles per hour because there was a bomb tied to the engine. This is kind of like the Honda Pilot version of that. Hopefully without a bomb, but still, you know what I'm saying. Like, as soon as I heard this, I was like, it's Speed without a bomb. That's so wild. He'd be like, what? Help me, you turd. And I'd be like, I'm sorry. One of the many reasons I shouldn't be a 911 dispatcher, Mike.
Yeah. I think, you know what? I probably would have been like, are you sure you're not making it go faster with your foot?
What's your foot doing right now?
Or is there carpet behind your gas? Well, somehow there was a carpet. I don't know.
Has a bowling ball rolled down into your accelerator? Look for a bowling ball. Mike, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back here on the Doc G, a show. And we are back here on the Doc G show. Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners feel like this show is a positive way to waste their time, they should please subscribe to the show on whatever platform they listen to podcasts on, whether it be YouTube, we're there, Spotify, we're there, SoundCloud, we're there, iTunes, we're there.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a cost-effective way to support the show, and if the listeners are feeling extra generous, they should please leave us a 5-star review and tell a friend.
Amen.
Tell a friend about the show.
You know, Mike, I was thinking about this. They have some weird podcast categories on Apple.
So true.
And when we first started the show, I didn't feel like I was doing enough comedy on the show to put it on comedy, you know? I was like, I feel like people are going to stab me if I put it in comedy. Be like, that's not comedy, you bag, you know? So I didn't want to put it in comedy. And then like they didn't have an entertainment category, you know? And obviously we don't talk enough about sports to make it sports. So I was like, I guess society and culture.
No way, dude. This is a comedy show, man.
So true.
See, now I feel now that it is, and I'm like, I gotta put it in the comedy, but like now I can't figure out how to change the category. So it's been stuck on society and culture. And you know what, listeners, this is my promise to you. I'm gonna find out how to change it.
Yeah, please do.
You don't care, listeners, but I do, and Mike does. So we're putting it under comedy. I just made a note to myself, everybody. There you go. While you
We have no culture.
Well, come on. We're pretty... when you hear our list of soups, listeners, you will know we are cultured. Okay?
Maybe Doc G's list of soups. No culture in my soups. No, that's not true. I can't wait to talk about soups.
I've got classy ass. You know it. You know it. Listeners, we need to thank the regulars. And Mike, big news. Big news. We have a new 5-star listener.
Shoutouts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Nice.
Here we go.
Good to hear.
I'm not going to go too fast, but here we go. Shout out to San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Bournemouth, Oregon, Genoa, Italy, Richardson, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, and Falkenstein, Germany, Mike.
Falkenstein, what's up? Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
5-star.
I did a little digging, Mike. I did a little digging on Falkenstein. This may surprise you, but that's where Falkenstein Castle is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like
Castles are cool.
the Falkenstein Castle, Mike. It's like 700, well, not, it's like 600 years older than our country.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Love castles.
No, it's close. Yeah. Around 600 years older than our country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Nice.
pretty old. Also, if me and you are going to Falkenstein, we need to hit up Berg Falkenstein Restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, that's the highest rated restaurant in Falkenstein. Now, I noticed that it said temporarily closed on Google, so hopefully that's not too long, because I'm planning on going. I don't know about you, but I'm planning on going to Falkenstein.
Falkenstein.
And apparently, the Berg Falkenstein restaurant, they've got the schnitzel, they've got the dumplings,
Love the
they've got
schnitzels.
the classic German stuff, man.
Cool.
So I'm excited. Thank you, Falkenstein, for listening. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Mike, 4-star listens. Here we go. Mountain View, California. Shout out. Pryor, Oklahoma. I don't think that was named after Richard Pryor, but Pryor.
Spelled the same?
Spelled the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Singapore, Mike. They're back on the list. Thank you, Singapore.
What's up, Singapore?
Riverside, California. Those inland folks. You ever been to Riverside, Mike?
No.
Yeah, it's like I feel like you could almost call it East LA. I would guess people probably in Riverside do call it East LA. I mean, it's like an hour from like downtown LA, but still. Anyways, shout out to you guys. Denver, Colorado. Shout out to you. Shout out to La Carlota. Let me try that again. La Carlota. There we go. La Carlota, Argentina. That's a real small place there, Mike. That's like 1,000 people.
Really?
Yeah, Falkenstein's really small. It's only like 3,000 people in Falkenstein.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they're getting the Doc G
cool.
listen, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, we do.
Oakland, California. Shout out to Oakland, Bay Area. Kansas City, Missouri, Mike. Arato, Japan. Shout out to Japan. Des Moines, Iowa. Puebla City, Mexico. Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Tacoma, Washington, and Miami, Florida. There we go. There we go, Mike. That is the regulars and semi-regulars. We need to get to our guest honor for today. Very excited. Like I mentioned before, this is AleX Gonzato, lead singer of Violet Breed, right here on the Doc G Show. We will be right back with AleX.
The Doc G Show, because sometimes you need something playing in the background. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on 99.5 FM, Spinnaker.
This is 95.5 Spinnaker Radio. WSKR LP-FM, UNF Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are very excited to be welcoming lead singer of the new band Violet Breed, who have their new single, Awake, out in the world. And the new album is on the way. We have none other than Mr. AleX Gonzato. Alex, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on the show. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's dive into it. You've been singing, I hear, for a very long time. Raised in a house of music?
Correct. Yeah. So at a very early age, I'm going to say around 7, 8, my mum, she's a classically trained singer. So we're talking like traditional musicals. It's very much of like the Stephen Sondheim sort of style of singing, like Sweeney Todd. So that was like her area of singing.
Wow.
But when she was out performing, doing her thing, I hold a lot of credit to my dad, who I think, well, he will say this, he had an amazing music taste. So while she was out singing, we spent this sort of bonding time together, and it was like an introduction into music. So we had a little record player and a stereo in our setup in the lounge of like, really old school, like the big speakers by the telly. And my dad was introducing me to stuff like Pink Floyd and T-Rex and Slade, Zeppelin, and early Genesis things, which for a young kid is quite like a lot to maybe take on. But the one that stood out for me was the Queen records that my dad was playing. And I never really, even to this day, hearing the voice, it still surprises me. And with Freddie Mercury singing, obviously, he's so highly regarded as one of the old greats. But for me as a kid to be exposed to that, it really changed my life, and it was inspirational to kind of I guess start getting into music. And then from that period, then there's like the whole sort of English indie scene with Oasis, Blur, Arctic Monkeys, and I've just been quite lucky in having a really good mixture of old and new, which that's pretty much kind of categorizes it all.
Well, now, so your mom's like, she was a full-time singer.
So part-time. So she's actually a teacher.
Oh.
And then, so she had like, it's like kind of like how it starts with everybody. It was like her passion and her hobby on the side. But she was phenomenal at it, and she still does little bits here inside and there. But she was a very strong influence in my singing, because going to schools in England and stuff, like standing up and singing is not regarded as cool, but it's just one of those things where it was kind of like in my blood, and I wanted to, after I said when my dad showed me those early records and stuff, I was like, wow, like you can do this as a living if you want, like if you really push yourself, and you can create stuff like this. And there's a massive wide eye opener for me to kind of be exposed to that world of music.
Yeah. Well, so I'm guessing, because you're bringing up the songs that your dad was playing for. I'm guessing like the music that your mom was singing probably wasn't like it wasn't her cup of tea.
It wasn't my cup of tea, but it was my first introduction into performance. So like I used to be like if there was like a very small child part in the chorus, my mum would drag me along to sing, like my first ever like singing role was Oliver Twist. So like it's a completely different style of singing to what I do now.
Yeah.
But I think from those early performances, it's such a different style of singing, but you learn the techniques quite early on, with the breathing and stuff like that. So I've actually brought a lot of that theatrical side into the sort of rock side, if that makes sense, which is, I think it's quite dynamic and a bit of a spin on it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, also you look at your favorite inspiration there, Queen. I mean,
yeah,
there's theatrics all over the place with Freddie. Like, I mean, in the voice, in the performance, everything.
Yeah, and I think, and then as you kind of listen to more music, like hearing amazing singers like Robert Plant, it's rock, but it's just another style and that sort of bluesy thing. And but me and Brian's main connection is McCartney. That's like we love Paul McCartney together. Obviously, like the Beatles, like it's quite a common thing to say, and it may be a bit generic, but in terms of what the Beatles did for me as well, they helped me in the process of creation and songwriting, not performing. Like there's this book that I always say to people, I consider it my little Bible, and it's just called the Little Black Beatles Songbook, and it's just got every song in there, all the chords, and it's like an education. You think there's 500 songs in there, there's probably 40 number one. It's that sort of obsession. That's where the creation process came into it, and I was obsessed with trying to mold these songs, be inspired by McCartney and Lennon especially.
Well, real quick before we go to the songwriting, if we go back to Queen, what was it that drew you in? Like you said, you were listening to all these songs. Your dad was playing all of this music for you. You hear Queen. What really roped you in for Queen?
I think I look at Queen as there's two aspects of it. There's the studio band Queen. So I was very fascinated with those complex harmonies, but like the layering and the texture, how they texturize their songs, and I love the evolution because they start off as this kind of prog rock metal fantasy, and I love all that. Like I love the long hair, the black finger, I love all that. But then the progression is they turn into one hell of a rock band selling out stadiums, and I think not many bands have done that, that progression from that. So that was one thing, and the voice. But then the other avenue is live. I was really lucky because my mum and dad went to go see Queen in the 70s and 80s. So we've got like the original programs, and just looking at the programs and the pictures of the scale of what they were doing back then, it's just phenomenal. Like I know Aerosmith, there's like this, I read this thing one time, there's this like competition between who had the biggest lighting rig, like Genesis, Aerosmith or Queen. But I think that's what really, again, made me want to be a performer, was seeing those shows. Like you just have to watch Wembley 86 and you can just see the scale of like how magical it is to see them perform live.
Yeah. Well, now, was it, I mean, you sort of answered this, but like once you actually started hearing Queen, was it sort of a deep dive into Queen, or were you still just going all over the book as far as music?
I love this question because like I feel like when you become a music fan, for me with the whole Queen thing, it's like my dad actually introduced me to the last record they ever released with Freddie Mercury's vocals, which was Made in Heaven. So like the very end of the book. So I was blown away by all these songs. And then literally from that point on, I was going to like shops like Walmart and little record shops, because I didn't collect vinyl then. It was just CDs, because that was like my era. And I went back. So I was going in as this little 9-year-old kid going, have you got Queen 1 on CD, or have you got Queen 2? And like they're like, who's this like 9-year-old kid coming in like asking for these early Queen? But that's how I did it. I went Queen 1, Queen 2, Shit, Heart Attack, and all the way through. So like, and every Christmas I'd get like a remastered version of the album, and and built up the CD collection. But now it's all about vinyl. That is my massive obsession. I'm sat next to my Queen collection here. I don't know if I can show you, but that's now where I'm going now. It's collecting records, and I love it.
Well, like, I mean, you mentioned this a little bit, but like, the time period that you're in, like you said, with getting the early Queen songs doesn't really, of course, just line up. It's not like that album just came out.
No.
So like when you were in middle school and sort of your teenage years, were you a little bit of the, not to say outcast, but the unique person with the music taste of like?
I feel like there's a definite bridge in terms of that question, because anything prior to when that film Bohemian Rhapsody come out, I actually kind of feel like Queen were a bit old-fashioned and not very like cool.
Yeah.
When that film come out, with Rami Malek's portrayal of Freddie winning the Oscar, and then Queen Anne Lambert going on these sensational, they're now cool again.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I would say, like, when I was at school, I wasn't like singing loud and proud about being a Queen fan. But like, for all I know, there could have been loads of kids who loved them, but it just wasn't a common topic. It's where when I was at middle school and high school, it was very much about like Oasis and the English bands, Arctic Monkeys. They were massive in the UK, and obviously they've gone across the pond now to get a bit more exposure in America. But yeah, that's what I mean. The blend of the old and the new. I'm really privileged to have that. It's nice to source old material and source new, and then with Brian as well, collabing on this project, he's introduced me to some, amazing music like American bands, and he's been giving me vinyls, and when he comes over, we go vinyl shop, and it's amazing. So like I feel like I'm always learning, and it's a really cool experience.
Well, now, I mean, you mentioned McCartney as far as like sort of the learning experience of songwriting. Mm-hmm. When did you like start either? What did you pick up first, guitar or piano, as far as like songwriting?
So my main instrument for songwriting is guitar, mainly acoustic. Like I can play electric, but I'm not like the best player. I play to suit what I'm doing and this and that.
Right.
But since learning McCartney songs and Beatles songs, I love playing piano, and that's kind of like become as like a self-taught thing. So I'd say I'm actually a tad stronger on the piano now than the electric guitar, but I think it was really cool seeing early videos of just McCartney, like, in a field with a big beard and his acoustic, just like writing songs like Jet or Band on the Run, and those sort of things, like I'm just fascinated by it, like just that core ideas come from a very simplistic place, a raw background with just a voice and the guitar. And then when you hear the final product, it's like, wow, like they're like mini operas. And that's one thing that's really inspired myself and Brian, is when we meet up to do songwriting, and he'll come over here or in Italy or whatever, and we always start with the acoustic, because it's a very raw and pure identity to begin with.
Yeah.
And the main rule is, if it doesn't sound good with just an acoustic, it's not going to be a very good song. You got to get the skeleton and the blueprint solid before you start adding things. So that whole McCartney thing, I think he's the best who's ever done it.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I've said it a bunch, but like, that's the thing, is you can take a song that has a whole bunch of production on it, all kinds of effects and everything else, but if it's not a good song to start with, you can't put those effects on it and make it a good song. Like
I find I couldn't like quote or give an example, but that is definitely a lot of the vibe of today's music. Like loads of music is like completely colored in effects and auto tune, but then for someone, my personal preferences, I would love to see that song at its most organic and purest version, but you can't really do that with some songs at the moment. So
yeah,
I'm hoping that's what will be in time. If things go well, will kind of separate Violet Breed and myself and Brian from other artists out there.
No, it's I mean, I always think, earlier stuff, I think of like Def Leppard's stuff on Pyromania, and there's all this production, there's 37 different guitar parts, there's all like, but then you strip it down, it's still a really good song.
It's still a great song.
Well, do you remember the first time that you put sort of a whole song together?
Yeah, I mean, from like so it's a bit different here in England. So like college isn't what college is in America. It's kind of like a mixture of high school before you go on to college, because we have university. But around that college time, I was getting into like little bands, and then I got into a really cool, exciting band with my friends, and we had a great time. And that sort of time when we were writing songs, it was it was an experiment, because we were still young and being introduced to it. So it was kind of like a dipping a toe in the water all the time. But what I'm really proud of is that when we went out to play like our first shows, we never play covers. We just used to go out and play our original songs, which was quite like risky, but we were naive, and you didn't know any better. But that's kind of like where that sort of process started with. And it was for me as well, when I kind of took the leap, I guess, because I enrolled on like a music course that was based around singing and songwriting. And I remember like writing these songs and thinking, oh God, like you had like a show and tell process. And you have to kind of like really put yourself on the line playing in front of kids in your class. You know, you don't want to get like, beaten up afterwards or something like that. But it was a great experience and a massive eye opener, because you would play something that you would think isn't very good, but it's touched. You could have like touched someone, or it's related to someone. So I was always fascinated with the power of what songwriting can do to people.
Yeah. Did they in that class, was that like they actually like try to give you structure as far as how you organically come up with it, or was it?
It was always like they would give you a theme, and they would like say, right, write something about space. So we advise you to listen to Dark Side of the Moon, or like The Doors or whatever, like with like the sort of quirky sounds. And but my biggest advice after doing that course for a year is you can be told like what to do, how to theme it, but I think it's just got to come from somewhere within where it's true and honest. I know that sounds really cliche, but you can't. I don't think you can teach that. You can tell somebody like what to write about, you know, how to arrange it, do this, but like I think the best songs come when it's something unique, personal, and it comes quick. I think that's the most thing as well. It just comes to you like that, and those moments where it comes, it's like, right, pen, paper, let's go.
Well, now, would you say is it different? Because I know this is for every songwriter a bit different, but is it one of those? Are you sort of a riff first person, a phrase person, a melody, or does it come different ways, different times?
For me, it's always been melody. So like I would be walking around. So I still have a day job, which I'm like, you know, because I've got bills to pay and I'm really proud of it. And the Violet Breathe thing is a wonderful opportunity to get out there. But like I actually walk around on my day job. I get these melodies in my head, and with technology now, I can grab my iPhone, voice record, and it always starts from there. And I think, okay, well that, and it's always the chorus that comes first. So I get the melody for what I think will be the hook. And then I think, right, okay, then I build around it. So I go there, I write a verse, then a bridge section, and then all of a sudden it's there. And then the lyrics come at the end. And with lyrics, again, that's where Brian's really good with me, because I have this tendency to kind of maybe waffle, you know, and I love Jeff Buckley. So like, I love all that sort of romantic artist sort of type of lyrics. But the main thing of Violet Breed, which is what I'm really proud of, is that it's just straight up honest and people can relate to it. So I've kind of adapted my approach to lyrics now, and just a bit more like relatable is the main word I think I want to say to people. Like when people hear it, it's like, okay, I know what that guy's on about. Like I can relate to that, rather than kind of like scratching the surface with it. And that's one of the things that I've kind of been developing now as a songwriter. Nice.
Well, now, I mean, you've referenced him a bunch here. Brian Wheat, Tesla. You can collaborate on all the Violet Breed material. You've been working on this album for a good while now.
Like we have a collection of songs like on a hard drive, and I think the way how I see music these days is, even though there's like a body of work there, I think the main aim is to do singles, like, you know, every kind of like 8 weeks or whatever it's going to be. So over that sort of time where he's got his schedule of Tesla, I mean, that's the thing, and that's priority. But he has these artistic tendencies, like we all do, to still be creative on other levels. So to get the opportunity to collab with him, and with the situation that we're in now, like me and you are talking across the pond with not you know, I mean, like no buffering, nothing. So it's quite a quick process to write songs with someone like that, and we're kind of on the same vision. Do you know what I mean? It's a cool process.
How did you start working with Brian?
So he was working with a band who I knew in the UK, a friend. Then we met, and he was really interested in what I was doing with this project that I was in, and he come on as like a mentor and a producer, and with all those things. And then COVID hit, so the project that I was involved in, sadly, in my opinion, just kind of hit a glass ceiling. You didn't know where the world was going to go.
Yeah.
But me and him maintained such a good friendship. Like, we go on vacations together in Italy. I mean, like, he's kind of like a father figure in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed in great contact during like lockdowns, and I was just writing these songs and he sending them to him, and he was like, dude, like, I would love to kind of give you this a platform to maybe just elevate this together. And I was like, it'd be silly not to kind of take that opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I could just write these songs, they could just get out to maybe 100 or 200 people, but with me and you together, early signs with the sort of fan base and his audience throughout the years, it's a really cool place to kind of experiment and an opportunity to put some music out.
For sure. Well, I mean, Tesla has been a huge rock band for 40 years. I'm guessing, has he told you some pretty have some pretty great stories came up from him?
The best, like, it's obviously great hearing like one-on-one stories. Brian's really funny. Like, he cracks me up all the time with like certain things. But one of my like favorite experiences with him is he gave me or sent me a copy of his book, The Son of the Milkman, the biography. And that was because I feel like I know him very well, but reading that book and seeing the drive, the passion, what it takes to kind of be in a band and stuff, that was an amazing read. And then I could FaceTime and be like, did this really happen? Like, was this like I think it really inspired me, because I was like, wow, like, you can really appreciate not what he done, but all those guys done to get where they are now. It's not easy to maintain and to keep being what they are, but they're the best at doing it, you know. He put us on the guest list one time in London, and me and my dad and his friend went down to go watch, and we were like, do you mean, like, it's like a spiritual event watching Tesla play? They're phenomenal. So
for sure. Little connection to Tesla on our show. We had Phil Collin from Def Leppard on the show back.
Oh wow!
That's about 6 years ago, and that was right when he was finishing up his. Yeah.
I've got that down there. Shock.
Yeah, it's
a modern sounding album compared to like other stuff. But I think it's like what I love about Tesla is, as like a fan, all the body of work is amazing. Like, it's insane.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I mean, I feel like I'm cliche, because like my favorite Tesla songs, it's Love Song, it's Signs, like, and Modern Day Cowboy. Do you have a favorite that's outside of the big names?
My favorite Tesla album is the record Forevermore. I think it's like early, I don't know when it was, like, I'm gonna say early 2000s, around that period. And there's a track on there called Falling Apart, which it's like, if it was released now, it would be number one. That's how the song feels to me. So there's a track on there called Falling Apart, and there's another track called I Want to Live, because I think they're the ones that Brian, when we started talking and hanging out and stuff, and he showed me that record first, because I think it was their most recent release, and I was like, wow, like. And then obviously, like, the Queen thing, go back to Mechanical Resonance and all that sort of stuff. So
well, now working with Brian, songwriting, when you were putting these things together, how long? Like, I'm guessing it didn't take too long before you were like, I think this is gonna work. This is gonna be some good songs coming from this.
Yeah, like, I think because we're so influenced by the same backgrounds in terms of like who's inspired us, what we like. When you come together with someone like that who's also bringing 40 years of this incredible experience to the table, it doesn't surprise me how quick and how fluid it actually all comes out. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take too long to put a song together, and for him to go work his magic in the studio with what he does, and it's a quick process, so you can build up songs quite quickly. We were talking about it before we came on. He handles all that, the sort of recording production side. That's his wizardry. Yeah, he is the wizard. He's the engineer, the producer. And what's cool is, I don't get me wrong, like my opinions are always valid, but it's never a struggle because like we'll start with the acoustic guitar, we'll start working, and then we'll be like, yeah, this song kind of reminds me like this song, and like, it can maybe sound like this. And then when I hear, 2 weeks later, I get an email back. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's how I heard it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's sort of no pulling teeth. It's always been very accurate all the time.
Nice. Well, now on the newest single on Awake that's been released, you also had some extra Tesla help on that song, right?
Yeah. So Brian's drafted in Dave Rude, who's the Tesla guitarist, and what a sensational guitarist he is, number one, and also just a great guy. So Brian asked him to come and play some guitars, and he has, and he's been involved in a few bits of songwriting here and there, which obviously people will hear in the future when they start coming out. And he was in the video, so I did all my stuff over here, and Brian filmed Dave over there, but they've edited it in a way where it kind of looks like it's like one big flowing thing. But it's amazing. He's just, again, very lucky to have a player like Dave involved in the project, because from when you hear Awake, you can hear it's like wow, it's kind of another step up.
Well, now, how did you I'm guessing you had multiple songs already sort of ready to go when you released Awake. How did you go with Awake?
This is a thing, like I wasn't too involved in selecting what would be the first introduction into the band, but like stepping from like an out of the circle thing, I think when I listen to all the tracks that we have and like the demos and on our hard drives and in the vaults and that, I think it is the perfect introduction to the band. So if that makes sense. So I think Brian chose the single with like other people's ears, and I was just happy because I find it difficult to separate myself from the songs. Like, I love that one, but actually there's people who have the ears who are good, but I was torn between two, and Awake was one of them. So it's not like I was unhappy. Do you know what I mean? Like I was I think that's the perfect representation. Even the title works for like introducing a band. It's like
nice.
And we're now in the process, probably over the next 2 months or so, getting some artwork together, and we've done all the videos. We did them all over here where I am, and I sent my footage off. So we've kind of got everything to get to get going quite quickly. So there's a good team of people around us.
Well, what's the plan? Like you said, you're thinking sort of the single game. What's the plan for the release of the material?
I think I'm not like 100% accurate because I don't get involved with those sort of like plans, but I think it is to do like a single, maybe an EP at the end of it, and then more singles. And I think we're just enjoying the process, especially myself, because I haven't really been released, or have never really released anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice to just be putting music out there and just enjoying I don't know where it's going to go, what's going to happen, but I know we've got a body of work that we're both proud of and looking forward to people eventually hearing when it all comes out.
You got the good part of just being happy about the music. That's
it is kind of like I get to chat to like people like you who are like which I really enjoy, like fascinating people who have the same sort of passion of music. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's a new world for me, but I'm just enjoying myself.
Yeah, well, I mean, so is all the music? I mean, you said Awake is sort of encapsulating of the band. Are there any like hard turns on some of these songs that are very different? A lot heavier or a lot softer? Or
I mean, this is just from me talking. What I'm really proud of the most is there's not a song that sounds the same. That's for me. So there's quite a like going back to that Queen thing, and every song on the Queen record is different.
Yeah,
got folk, they got a ballad, they've got funk. I mean, and like we haven't gone to those extremes just yet, but it's not just going to be every song's going to be a carbon copy of Awake. Like we've obviously got the rock choruses and the heavy guitars, but then I think we'll surprise people with the sort of ballady songs and the less heavier songs, and they're all on, and they're all there. There's a good selection and a good mixture of music. So that's what I'm really proud of. I think Brian would be too. It's not just a straight up, 11 tracks are going to be all rock and roll. I mean, it's going to be a bit of hopefully something for everyone.
Not just the Ramones, just straightforward ones.
Yeah.
Well, now, I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but can you give us the name of one of the songs that, like, right now you're the most excited about?
It will probably be the one that's coming out next.
Okay.
I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't say the title yet.
Can you say it and then I'll bleep it out on the actual live version? I promise I will bleep it out.
Okay, every promise. So there's a track called, I think there's two. I think we're still in the pro, but there's a track called so you can bleep that out. And then so they're like the two.
I love it. Those right there. That's what I get. It's my little nugget for waiting for when it comes out. I know that's the one I'm looking for. I love it. Listeners, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait until it comes out for real.
But yeah, it's cool. Like I said, I'm just in this position where I'm really thankful to be working with some great people, meeting new people, and just having that, there's not many rock bands around, like, kind of coming out. There is, but like, it's not like the mainstream. So it's kind of cool to be, introducing people, if they want to be, into some new form of rock music, I guess.
Yes, cycle back around.
It is. That's one thing I have learned, like, from being, I mean, I am still young, but when I first started in my teens, like, seeing cycles of music, like, it's all, everybody wants to be like the Smiths, and then all of a sudden it's like we want to be like My Chemical Romance, then all of a sudden Lamb of God. I was like, I've seen so many like trends, and I'm thinking, what's going to be next?
It comes in, maybe Violet Breed.
Who knows?
That's next. Well, Alex, we are up against a break, but I want to thank you for coming on the show today and talking with us.
No, thank you so much for having me, and I hope your listeners all enjoy our little conversation. It's been great. It just feels like we've been talking to like a best friend in like a pub or something in England. It's been awesome.
For sure. Yeah. Listeners, make sure you check out Violet Breed, and you get Awake. You can stream it everywhere. It's on all streaming services, and right now we're going to take a listen to it right here on the Doc G Show. Are back here on the Doc G Show. You just heard AleX Gonzato, and you just heard Violet Breed, his fantastic band there with their song Awake. Just great, Mike. I mean, with all these hurricanes that I have been experiencing here in Florida, I really was envious of his quiet fall rain in England. I was like, oh, that is mild, depressing weather, and I like it. I wish I could have some of that right now instead of violent weather. No, thank you,
Yeah.
That's what England's sort of known for that.
Yeah.
Just a little pitter-patter on the roof, Just a little pitter-patter, and then pretty much every time you go out, you're like, why is it so cold? What is... But not super cold, just cold.
Yeah, just cold enough.
But regardless, I'm very excited to see what Violet Breed comes out with. Super great guy. Give AleX a follow on the socials, and give their song there, Awake, a couple listens when you get a chance. Mike, it's time to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C, top 3.
Woo! That was a little in between there on that introduction, Mike.
Oh, yeah?
You didn't have as much of the game show introduction.
Oh, yeah.
There was a little bit more...
DJ voice.
Mike C. Top 3.
Top 3.
Yeah.
Mike C. Top 3.
There you go. That's the more Casey Kasem right there.
I'm going to try to hit that next time.
Solid gold. Mike, it is almost every lady's favorite time of year and my least favorite time of year.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fall.
Yeah.
AKA cozy season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not a fan of cozy season for many reasons.
That's a fact.
Many, many, many reasons. But I'm never going to hate on food.
No way.
And cozy season means soup.
Yep.
You suggested top 3 soups.
Yep.
And so, Mike, I have multiple soups that I already mentioned. I've never been full on soup, and I've almost never gotten a soup as an entree.
No way.
You know, I've never done the unlimited soup and salad at Olive Garden. I should, because their salad's delicious, and so is their soup.
So true.
But I've never done it, Mike. But regardless, do you have any honorable mentions?
I do, but I feel like we should do them afterwards. I mean, there's a
Really?
lot of soups. I feel like we're gonna. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I don't think we're gonna ruin each other's top 3
All right.
with honorable mentions.
Okay.
My first one on the honorable mention, it's pretty unique. Don't know if you've ever had it. Lasagna soup.
Lasagna soup? No way.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. No. Never even heard of it.
It's sort of it's basically lasagna, just juicier. You know?
Ew. That's gross. I hate that lasagna water.
Oh,
You know,
come
when you
on,
make
dude! It's the
lasagna.
best.
Ew.
It's tomatoey. It's oily. It's delicious, man.
Gross.
Get out of town, man. I'm telling you, you'll change your mind if you have some lasagna soup.
I'll try it.
You know, you gotta give it a shot. What's your first honorable mention?
Honorable mention: the hibachi restaurant soup. It's called clear soup. I actually looked it up. Clear soup. Yeah,
Is it water?
It's clear, but they always put like mushrooms in it, little scallions, and
Okay.
it's
I'm guessing it's a broth, a light broth of something.
Yeah, it's definitely just a little appetizer. It's
Like
a
little
hibachi
salty
restaurant
water?
thing. Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I went much heartier than that. Next on my list would be Italian sausage soup.
Yeah.
Now, if you really want to get bananas, throw some tortellini in there, too. Ooh.
Say what?
Ooh, now you're talking hearty, Mike. Stick to your bones. That
Yeah.
sausage just in there all day, just leaking out grease.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. What else is on your honorable mention, Mike?
Broccoli cheddar soup. I've got 3, or I've got 4 total ones. So yeah, broccoli cheddar soup.
That's
Is
good.
my number.
That's good. I like it. I like it a
Yeah.
lot.
Broccoli cheddar
I mean,
soup.
come on now. Put cheese on anything. It's going to be delicious.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, my last honorable mention, clam chowder. Now,
that counts.
that is the New England, not the Manhattan. I don't know any crazy like more Manhattan than New England.
Yeah.
Now, you know
I've never even heard of.
You know the
Manhattan.
difference, right?
No.
Clam, you remember the famous line from Ace Ventura? What's the password? New England clam chowder. Is that the red or the white? Ah, I can never remember that. White? Anyways, red or white, Mike, is tomato or cream based. Of course, the normal and the New England is cream based. But some wackadoodles thought they would make a tomato-based clam chowder, and that's the Manhattan style. Ugh.
Yeah, that's weird.
Not anywhere close to being as good, man. Not
Yeah,
anywhere
doesn't
as
sound good.
close. Anyways, Mike, what are your last 2 honorable mentions?
Yeah, I got 2 more. Potato soup, like the potato leek soup, and then also lobster bisque. Yeah,
Lobster bisque.
yeah.
That's a lot like clam chowder.
Yeah.
Very similar. You
Delicious.
throw some crustaceans in there and just put a bunch of cream on top of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, number 3 on my list, Mike. It's one of your honorable mentions. Potato leek soup.
Yeah.
Mike, you put some crispy bacon in there. You sprinkle some thyme on the top of it. Oh, get out of town. That is a stick to your bones starter right there.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever had enough of that. That is always one where I have a ladle of that as an appetizer, and I'm like, could I just have like 3 more gallons of that? Could we just give me the whole bowl? I just want the whole vat of that. So creamy. The potatoes are melting in your mouth, man. And like I said, if they do it right and they put the bacon in there right before, but it's crispy bacon, get out of here. Get out of here. Number 3 on your list, Mike.
Kind of a random one, but tomato bisque with the basil. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Mike, we're towing off on each other here.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of my number 2.
Yeah.
I put creamy tomato.
Yeah.
Specifically
tomato.
Italian.
Yeah, with the basil. Like
Now,
with a little bit of
well,
basil.
For me, here's what you do, Mike. Now, you can just go ahead, throw a can of Campbell's out there. I'll love it. That's fine, you know? But if you really want to make me dance, right, you get some San Marzano tomato sauce, right? You get some San Marzano tomatoes, canned, right?
Yeah.
You get some onions. You get some garlic. You get some oregano. You brown all of that in a saucepan. So you put the onions, the garlic, the oregano. You brown it in a saucepan. You add a good amount of butter. Then you hit the tomato sauce in there. You start stirring it up, right? Then you hit it with the fresh tomatoes. You get the immersion blender, and you just blend that all in, right? Then you hit it with the heavy cream, all fat cream in there, and then just a big helping of butter on top of that. You blend it all in. You let it simmer for a couple of hours. Get out of here, Mike. That is some good stuff.
Any
right
recommendations for tomato, like a soup like that? You know of any spots? Mine was Carrabba's. Actually, 2 of my top 3 are Carrabba's soups.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. I mean, I think sort of like the seafood. You might, or the jambalaya. You might have to go searching. Might have to search for the best soup shop in Las Vegas. You know.
Yeah.
Your number 2, Mike.
My number 2 was also kind of an honorable mention. Sausage and lentil soup.
Oh.
Yeah, sausage and lentil soup. That's a Carrabba soup, but it's a fantastique.
Let's be honest. Great. Any sausage in there?
Yeah, it's good. It's
sausage
really good.
Just makes it good, man.
It does. It does.
I got a feeling your number 1 might be my number 1.
Yeah, I think it is probably.
French onion?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes, Mike. It's got to have a load of caramelized onions. It's got to load it up. And there's got to be, they got to have, for me to really love it, Mike, it's got to have the baguette perfectly cut for the bowl, you know? So you get that whole cap on there of bread. And now classic is the Gruyere cheese, right? But I actually think a blend is best. You know, when they get like, they do a little like fontina, a little mozzarella in there. Yeah. And you get a really good pool on it. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. French onion soup.
There's a place in Hilton Head, South Carolina, Fraser's.
That would be a good French onion soup name.
That has some killer French onion soup. Mike, when I was on this assignment, this top 3 assignment, I was looking at different French onion soups online there, and I came across All Recipes French onion soup. And this was the statement from Bethy for the recipe. Quote, make this when you have 30 to 40 minutes to caramelize the onions to a deep golden brown. It's so worth it. Yowza! This is the best French onion soup ever. Hands down, no contest, game over, lights out, sell my clothes, I've gone to heaven, amazing. Why do you need to sell your clothes though?
Yeah, she lost me there, but all the other comments were nice.
Are there no clothes in heaven? Is heaven a nudist colony where you just eat French onion soup? Because if so, Mike, I'm in. I am in. Get me going, Bethy. My goodness. Bethy sounds like a name, too, that could dig on some French onion soup.
That's a fact.
She's not calling herself Beth, Mike. She's calling herself Bethy. And I dig it. I dig it. Mike, that's their soups.
That was good.
And I wish right now we could both just pull out
I know.
delicious French onion soup. But we don't have it. We don't have it.
A massive bowl of it, just like to get full off of it.
I bet you Goldbelly has some French onion soup, Mike.
Oh yeah, probably.
I bet you they do. I bet you they do.
You can they have Trader Joe's has a good frozen French onion soup. You just put it in a bowl, heat it up. It's fantastic.
I don't know. That doesn't sound like I'm wasting
It sounds
$100
terrible.
on it.
Yeah.
I need something to really waste some money on, Mike. That's what I want to do.
That's Goldbelly.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
And it's worth it.
Oh, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Mike, we need to move on, though. We've got 2 birthday suits left. Oh, wait. Before we move on, next week, what are we doing?
All right. I think this would be, MLB jerseys.
Okay. I don't watch a lot of baseball, but
Me neither.
we can do it. We can
Yeah.
do it. We
can do it.
I mean, there's definitely some jerseys I like.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think like as far as honestly, like out of like truly wearing jerseys, I think I like to wear baseball jerseys the most.
My next jersey is going to be a baseball jersey.
I like it.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
it.
Yeah, I think they're all season.
Yeah. You know, my favorite is my alma mater. I like wearing a good Miami Hurricanes baseball jersey.
There you go.
They're always nice.
Yeah. Okay.
I always like how in baseball, especially with college baseball, they never conform to the other sports as far as the styling. It's always different. They're like, no, we're not going to use the same logo. We're too cool for that. We're baseball. Like, it's always different. Look at any team. Yeah, look at any team. They're like, we use something different. It's like Miami, they always use the U. That's their logo. Not in baseball. It's a Gothic M for Miami. Yeah, it's wild. Anyways,
Neat.
okay, MLB jerseys. We got a lot of years, too, to go through.
Oh, yeah. We'll do some throwbacks.
I'm only going to do pre-1900 jerseys.
There we go.
That's going to be all mine. They're just going to be all gray and black. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, we've got 2 birthday suits. We got 1 musician. We got 1 football player. Who do you want first?
Football player.
Okay. Don't think you'll get this one. He's not.
I don't either.
He's not big enough to get. I mean, he's big, but not for you, because he's got to be enormous for you, you know?
Yeah.
But he plays for you, actually, on San Francisco. So there you go.
Oh.
Plays for old Kyle Shanahan. Anywho, born on October 9th, 1993 in Madison, Wisconsin. His family moved to Iowa when he was young. From a young age, our birthday suit wearer loved football. He ended up playing at the University of Iowa. In his 4th year, he was able to stand out as a tight end, so he was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers with the 146th pick overall. He's now in his 8th season with the San Francisco 49ers. Since being drafted, he has become a 4-time All-Pro player and a 5-time Pro Bowler. Side note, I love him in his Little Caesars commercials. He does Little Caesars commercials. Any idea, Mike?
No idea.
Yep. I was afraid of that. I'll give you the initials real quick. Don't think it'll help. GK. Oh, no. Yeah. Sorry, GK.
No, sorry.
George Kittle, Mike. George Kittle. Yeah, you've heard the name.
Is he on the Receiver documentary?
Yeah, I think so.
Long hair.
Yeah.
Oh, sneakerhead. Oh, come on. I didn't know that. I was expecting you to say the Receiver. I still probably wouldn't have gotten it, but he's such a character.
He is. I was gonna say that in the fact that he always looks like he just did. He always looks like he just did something to get himself in trouble. Like he's always got that look of like I just committed arson. What? Like I just robbed a bank.
He's awesome, man.
He's fantastic.
Sad I didn't get that. Oh well.
Does a lot of visits to the children's hospital too. Very nice.
Yeah, that's
cool.
cool.
It's always out there. He also just looks, along with like he committed crimes. He also looks like he should be in a Vikings history show. You know?
Oh yeah, he's got some Viking.
I mean, he's just giant. He's 6'4". He's got long, stringy blonde hair. So he's got the shaved sides. Anywho. Here we go, Mike. I don't think you'll get the musician, but we'll see. Born on October 9th, 1948 in Heidelberg, Germany. Our birthday suit wearer's dad was in the military, and the family moved to California when he was 3. He started playing music at a young age and started singing and performing folk music as a young teen. And he had his first hit when he was only 16 years old. He first joined the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, former guest of the show, but left the group after only a couple of months. He then moved to New York to work for a publishing company, but then moved back to California, and at the start of the 70s started his solo career. He released his debut album in 1972 and had his big hit, Doctor My Eyes. You know that song?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In
19...
Yeah. Great song.
Eyes have seen it through the years.
Yeah.
In 1973, a song that he co-wrote with Glenn Frey of the Eagles became a massive hit, which was Take It Easy.
Say what?
The great Eagles song, Take It Easy. He co-wrote that. In 1977, he released his album Running on Empty, which became his biggest success with songs like Running on Empty. Running on Empty. Yeah, such a good jam. Since Running on Empty, he has steadily released more than 10 albums, with the last being Downhill from Everywhere in 2021. Birthday Suit Wearer has been nominated for 7 Grammys and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004 and the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2007. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Yeah, definitely going to need initials, and I probably still won't get it, but...
JB.
Jim
No.
Brown.
Got the last name.
Oh, wow.
Brown.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who is on the $20 bill, Mike?
Wow, why do I not?
I'm sorry. I didn't
$20
mean
bill.
to throw you into another question.
Wow.
Never mind. Jackson Brown is who we're looking for. Yes, Jackson Brown.
I was like Andrew, but then
Andrew Jackson. Yes, Jackson Brown.
Gotcha.
Hilarious. Jackson Brown. Love both of those songs, by the way, Mike.
Yeah.
Running on Empty and Dr. My Eyes. Such good jams. And Glenn Frey basically says, he was one of the main, one of the big factors of them learning how to write songs, the Eagles. They learned it from Jackson. It's great. It's a part in the documentary. They lived above Jackson Brown, and they would hear basically him, crafting the song over and over again. He'd wake up in the morning at like 7:30, make a pot of tea, start practicing the song, and then like after 3 hours, he'd sit there and meditate on it for like 30 more minutes, and then would go back to crafting it again, and just like
I like that.
Yeah, just elbow grease. Good old-fashioned elbow grease. But anyways, Mike, we had 3 fantastic birthday suits there. George Kittle, Jackson Brown. Oh, also, by the way, Jackson Brown, first name was actually Clyde.
Word.
Yeah, he went by his middle name, so it's Clyde Jackson Brown. I might be biased because I had a kick uncle named Clyde, but I think he missed out on going out on a Clyde. Like I've never met a guy named Clyde that wasn't kick ass. I'm just saying. All the Clydes I know kick.
I know a lot of Clydes.
Exactly. They're very rare, and when you meet one, kick ass.
Yeah.
Anywho, happy birthday to Jackson Brown, happy birthday to George Kittle, and happy birthday to John Lennon. Mike, very excited about next week's show. A fantastic comedian. My goodness. Eddie B. Just getting it done with, straight comedy, but also with the teaching comedy, man. The teachers are out there just getting so excited to see him. My God. He's filling out the real deal theaters out there, Mike. He's coming to the Florida theater, like a 3,000 person theater, and he's doing it for real. It's impressive, man. It's impressive.
That's awesome.
Can't wait to talk to him. It's going to be a fantastic show. But for right now, we need to wrap it up. I have been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Fernicus, Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.